All right, let's pull back the curtain on that invisible force that decides, pretty much everything you see online. It's like this hidden judge that determines whether a video is going to fly or just die. And today we're going to get a peek at its secret scorecard. Have you ever done this? You post a video you're super proud of, you've poured your heart and soul into it, and then crickets. You just watch it get stuck, while some random video of a cat falling off a shelf gets millions of views. It feels totally random, right? Like some kind of digital lottery. Well, it turns out it's not a lottery at all. It's actually way more like a high-stakes audition. See, every single video has to perform for this really critical audience, and it's being scored the whole time. And today, we're going to learn the rules of that game. Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll get into the secret game the algorithm is playing. Then we'll walk through your video's very first and most important test. And finally, we're going to uncover what these platforms are really after. So let's start with what is probably the biggest change in how we get our content. This is not your older siblings' internet anymore, that's for sure. So for years, right, your feed was based on what we call a social graph. You saw stuff from your friends, your family, pages you decided to follow. But platforms like TikTok and YouTube, they completely flipped the script. They run on an interest graph now. It literally does not matter who you know. The only thing that matters is what you watch. The algorithm is basically a matchmaker, trying to connect you with content it thinks you'll love, no matter who in the world made it. And to make all these matches, they use something called a point system. Think about it like this. Every single thing you do online, it's a vote. But here's the catch. Instead of one person, one vote, different actions have totally different values. Every like, every comment, every share, and especially every rewatch is a signal that tells the algorithm how much you actually enjoyed something. Okay, now this is the really fascinating part. Look at this hierarchy. Not all of those votes are created equal. A simple like, that's the lowest form of praise. It's worth 1 point. But a rewatch, when a video is so good you just have to see it again, that is the ultimate compliment. It's this subconscious signal that you are hooked, and it's worth a whopping 5 points. This changes everything, doesn't it? It tells us that these platforms value genuine captivation way more than just some passive thumbs up. So the big takeaway here is that retention is the new currency. Holding a viewer's attention right to the end, and even better, getting them to watch it again, is the single most valuable thing your content can do. So we've got the scorecard. Now let's see how your video actually gets judged in its first, and honestly, its most critical test, the audition. Every video, and I mean every video, it doesn't matter if you have 10 followers or 10 million, goes through the exact same process. The second you hit upload, the algorithm shows it to a small controlled test group of maybe 300 to 500 people. And that little group's reaction, it decides your video's fate. And to pass that audition, to get the green light so it can be shown to more people, your video has to earn a score of at least 50 points from that first audience. It's a hard number. You either hit it or you don't. And this just shows you the huge strategic advantage of making stuff people want to rewatch. I mean, you could try to get 50 different people in that small test group to like your video, which is pretty tough. Or you could make a video so good that just 10 people watch it again. Boom, 10 rewatches gets you the same 50 points as 50 likes. It's all about the quality of the engagement, not just the quantity. So what happens if a video can't get to that 50-point mark? Well, its distribution just stops. The algorithm pulls the plug. And this is exactly why so many videos get stuck in that horrible 200 to 300 view purgatory. It's not a glitch, it's the system working perfectly. The video had its audition and it just didn't pass. But just hitting 50 points isn't really the end game. Trying to game the system is a short-term play. Let's look at what the platforms are actually trying to do with all this. This quote from a YouTube executive really pulls the curtain back on the whole thing. The point system? It's just a tool. It's a means to an end. And that end is something much deeper, something much more human. They're not just trying to keep you clicking. They're trying to build a real relationship with you. And that ultimate goal, the thing they want most, is viewer satisfaction. The algorithm's real job is to be like the perfect host at a party, introducing you to that one piece of content that will make you feel like, yeah, that was time well spent. Because when it gets that right, it builds trust. And that trust is what keeps you coming back for more. And they measure this in ways that go way beyond that initial point system. They look at whether you keep coming back to a specific creator's channel. That's a huge sign of loyalty. They track if you watch another video after yours is done, because that means you helped create a good session. They even use surveys and analyze the emotional tone of the comments. It's pretty sophisticated stuff. So the big thing to take away from all of this is that success isn't about finding some secret hack or just chasing points. Those points are just a reflection of something way more important. The real goal isn't to trick the machine, it's to connect with and delight the actual human being on the other side of the screen. The algorithm is just trying to find the content that does that best. And that brings us to one last thought. Now that you know the rules of the game, you're not just a viewer anymore, are you? You're a judge. You know that when you rewatch something, it's like giving it a standing ovation. A share is a powerful endorsement, and a like, well, that's polite applause. So the question is, now that you know, is it going to change how you vote for the content that you truly love?